What's up, guys? It's Christian here, and welcome back to the Adventures of an Av Geek, where today we will be reacting to some videos by Simple Flying News about what is happening in aviation, as well as some fun videos that are aviation facts. I apologize, guys, that it's been so long since I've uploaded the last video. I got an internship, and I've been working a lot, so this is kind of taking a step back, but I have been uploading to my personal development channel, so you want to check that out, I'll make sure to put a link in the description. But let's get all that intro stuff out of the way. Right to the video. We are talking about why Air Canada might bring the Boeing 767-300ER out of retirement. Let's check it out.
Air Canada reportedly has plans to reintroduce the Boeing 767-300ER to its passenger fleet. The airline operated the jets for passenger services under its Mainline and Rouge brands up until the pandemic. When travel demand dropped, the carrier decided to convert several into freighters. Now, amid a capacity crunch, it looks like Air Canada will reintroduce the type for passengers. At the moment, Air Canada's 767 operations consist of 6 converted freighters flying for its cargo division. Looking at data from planespotters.net, it appears that the carrier has another 2 767s which have been in storage since the pandemic but have not been converted into freighters. These aircraft, registered Charlie Golf Lima Charlie Alpha and Charlie Foxtrot Oscar Charlie Alpha, appear to be parked at Hamilton International Airport. The 2 jets are about 34 years old and are listed as having a configuration of 24 business and 187 economy seats. When we asked Air Canada about the rumours, the airline confirmed that the 2 767-300ERs would be joining the fleet next year, but they would only be used on a quote-unquote interim basis to assist with capacity through 2026. The spokesperson said, "These are 2 Boeing 767-300ERs from our passenger mainline fleet that have been in storage, and they will re-enter passenger service on an interim basis to give us some insurance on our fleet capacity for the next 2 years. There's no plan to keep them as part of our fleet long term."
Oh yeah, of course, because they're older planes, but I do think that it is like the 767 is such a unique plane that I can see why Air Canada, would bring them back, even just for this time being, for the ability that it can serve, for sure.
It makes sense that Air Canada is reactivating available older aircraft to keep up with travel demand. The industry has seen a capacity crunch over the past year or so, prompted by output issues from both Boeing and Airbus. This industry-wide challenge is why many A380 operators pulled their super jumbos out of storage, and why the double-deckers are expected to fly for at least a few more years with several carriers. Despite such challenges, Air Canada is expecting a certain number of new aircraft from Airbus and Boeing. In 2025, the airline is planning to receive 21 aircraft. The 2 767-300ERs, which are the main subject of this video, will be joined by 1 787-9 Dreamliner.
Nice.
On the narrow-body side, the airline expects to take delivery of 2 A321 XLRs, 7 737 MAX 8, and 9 A220-300s.
Okay.
While less efficient than the 787 Dreamliner, the 767 will at least offer a more pleasant economy class seating layout with a 232 configuration. In international business class, the jets were configured with a 111 layout, which allowed for direct aisle access for all travellers in this cabin.
Interesting.
So, what do you think about the Boeing 767 returning to Air Canada's passenger fleet? Did you ever fly these jets before their pandemic retirements? Share your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that it's definitely a move that I could see an airline making if they're struggling with capacity and, fulfilling the demand, I guess you would say, with aircraft. So there's a need for more. And that, I think that's really interesting to have I've never quite heard of that. The economy, geez, I can't speak. The business classes that I've seen a lot of 121 configurations, but never a 111 configuration before. So I think that's really interesting. But yeah, I think this is a good move for Air Canada to help them for this time. And with the 787 coming along, that'll be good for them too. So yeah. And next up, speaking of seat configurations, this video is about how the routes that United uses. Oh, it's present. I'm having trouble with, yeah. All right. Apologies for that. I kind of forgot how to use StreamYard. I had a long time figuring out what to press, but basically this video is about 18 routes where United Airlines flies a 364 seat Boeing 777-200. Let's go.
According to CH Aviation, United Airlines has 220 wide bodies, although not all are active. It has the Boeing 767-300ER and -400ER, and from the 777 family, the non-ER-200, -200ER, and -300ER. The carrier also operates all three variants of the 787 Dreamliner, the -8, 9, and 10. This video will focus on the airline's 19 non-ER domestic Boeing 777-200s. It's the original 777 variant and thus gets little attention. Relatively few of these aircraft were produced, and even fewer remain. Over the years, more seats have been added to the jets, changing their use and improving their economics and competitiveness by reducing their seat mile costs. We examine where they fly for today's video.
All right.
United's 777-200s have 364 seats. This makes them the carrier's highest capacity equipment, with even more seats than United's larger 777-300s.
Wow.
In fact, the number of seats is greater than the maximum operated by the two other US Big Three operators.
My gosh.
Delta Airlines ex-LATAM A350-900s have 339 seats, while American Airlines 777-300ERs have 330 seats. All of United's non-ER 777-200s have the same configuration: 28 United First seats, 102 Economy Plus seats, and 234 regular economy seats. It's technically two classes of service, since Economy Plus passengers get the same level of service as economy, but have slightly more space. When passenger to lavatory ratio is concerned,
because that's really interesting. 364 is such a huge number. I genuinely thought that was going to be like an all economy flight. I remember it was like Cebu Pacific or someone like that who had an A330 that was all economy, but I think the number of seats on that was, well, I forget, but like somewhere close to 400. But yeah, it's interesting.
And there are 6 lavatories which appear to be available to economy class passengers, which includes those in Economy Plus. Thus, doing the math, it's 1 lavatory for every 56 passengers. At the same time, it's unclear if the lavatories located between United First and Economy Plus are shared between the two classes.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the high-capacity, leisure-heavy, medium-range 777-200 has low seat mile costs. These factors influence where they are flown, which includes many hub-to-hub routes. Analyzing United's schedule submission to Cirium shows 18 routes for November 2024, as shown here. All but 2 routes are domestic. The low-premium aircraft does not touch Newark this month, with its last service on the variant on October 26th. The non-ER's average stage length is 1,735 nautical miles, or 3,213 kilometers.
Wow.
Tantalizingly close to being 1,777, or 1,777. When it comes to these aircraft, United plans an average of 47 daily takeoffs, although there are as many as 49.
Wow.
And as few as 38 for November 28th. Denver has the most flights, followed by San Francisco, Chicago O'Hare, Honolulu, and Los Angeles. Orlando has the fewest departures for the month. These routes have the most flights. With service twice daily, we have Chicago O'Hare Los Angeles, Chicago O'Hare San Francisco, Denver Washington Dulles, Los Angeles Honolulu, and Houston Intercontinental San Francisco.
Interesting. So wait. Houston Intercontinental San Francisco? Oh, they may have. Oh, these are the routes. I thought it was just listing. Okay. Interesting. All right.
San Francisco. So, what do you think of United's dense 777-200s? Have you ever flown on these aircraft? Share your experiences by leaving a comment.
Yeah, so never flew on one of these, but it's definitely interesting to see how United has maximized this aircraft for some higher demand domestic routes. That's an interesting strategy that I'm sure works pretty well for them. But yeah, it's definitely, interesting to see how airlines, maximize, like given the Cebu Pacific example that I just told earlier, how airlines like seek to maximize their, how much money they make with their planes. It's interesting. And so next is a video that me being in studying aerospace engineering, I'm very curious about is why newly built aircraft are green. This I'm very curious about. Let's see.
In a world where the majority of aircraft are now painted with a base coat of white, planes with green fuselages are a relatively rare sight. South Africa had Kulula Airlines, while Russian carrier S7 continues to fly, but otherwise it's a colour seldom seen. However, you may have noticed from factory photos that many airliners start off with a green fuselage. But why exactly is this the case? The first thing to know is that the green appearance of newly built aircraft in their first days is not the consequence of a stylistic decision. Instead, the reason for this look stems from practical considerations. Specifically, according to Aircraft Technic, the green comes from a paint consisting of green zinc chromate or zinc phosphate primer.
Hmm.
Manufacturers apply this to new.
Wow, that's actually crazy. Like I was, of course, you have to think about how these planes get transported to like the factory or if they're just made there from scratch. But to see them transported by train, wow, that's crazy. I've never seen that
Zinc
before. That's
chromate
awesome.
or zinc phosphate primer. Manufacturers apply this to newly built aircraft to prevent corrosion. This is a key preventative measure that keeps a new plane's aluminium surfaces intact during the early days before its first full paint job. As it happens, this practice actually comes from a different manufacturing sector before being adopted by the aviation sector. Indeed, the use of a protective zinc chromate primer was said to be first popularized by car manufacturer Ford as early as the 1920s, before spreading to commercial and military aircraft. There are also several other factors at play when it comes to the use of green zinc-based primers on newly built aircraft. For instance, Aero Pete notes that it also serves as a base coat for the eventual top coat of paint that is applied to the plane before being delivered to its customer.
Smart.
As this coating would be needed anyway, using a primer for this purpose helps to kill two birds with one stone.
Nice.
You might also be wondering why the shades of green used on new aircraft sometimes differ. The Boeing 737 MAX is painted in a dark but shiny shade, whereas the Airbus A380 has a lighter matte finish.
Oh yeah.
According to Aircraft Technic, this is down to manufacturers using different primers. The increasing use of composites in modern commercial aircraft production has also changed things a little. Areas of new aircraft that feature composite materials are painted with different colored primers. Looking a little further back in time, we can see that newly built aircraft were previously painted with yellow primers for anti-corrosion purposes. However, the zinc chromate was toxic and even carcinogenic, so a type of carbon black known as lamp black.
All right. Sorry about that. My laptop is kind of low on battery, so I had to get its charger real quick. So let's rewind a bit so we know we haven't missed anything and keep going.
Anti-corrosion purposes. However, the zinc chromate was toxic and even carcinogenic, so a type of carbon black known as lamp black was added to the mix to reduce its toxicity. The presence of this additive resulted in the color change from yellow to green.
Hmm.
Did you know about this fun fact before watching this video?
No
Let us
idea.
know by leaving a comment.
No idea. That is awesome to know. given the field that I am studying for. Yeah, I guess that's let me tell you guys something. So I've from high school, I've hated chemistry. And I remember talking to my dad and telling him about how I was frustrated when I was first going into college about why I would have to take, because I study engineering, by the way. So I mentioned that. What am I doing? Anyways, I was frustrated with my dad. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to take chemistry. Why do I have to take chemistry for engineering? And he's like, dude, if you have to apply a material for a wing or something like that, it's important to know what kind of material you want to use so that, the wing is good and it can stay on the plane and withstand weather and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. And that's honestly the thing that I really appreciate about my dad is that he just knows things like that. It's crazy. So anyways, I thought you guys would appreciate that story. Definitely thought you guys would appreciate the videos we watched. Let me know what you thought about everything, what stood out to you. Let's have a conversation in the comments. And I'll be I'll be making videos. I know I took a long break. I apologize for that, but I will be making more videos. And I also will be coming up with a vlog because I will be traveling for Thanksgiving. So be on the lookout for more content. Anyways, that's it. I love y'all. Take care as I try to figure out how to turn this recording off because it's been a long time since I used StreamYard. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it. Awesome. Bye.